They tragically died when he was young. He was left to fend for himself.
Yeah, but
That's how he ended
but
up
I'm sorry,
becoming an
man. Last time I was lagging.
and even though he hates working for them, he's got no choice. He uses his appraisal skill on the rat they killed and finds out that it's an F-ranked rat, so it's pretty much worthless. Although Ein was born as a worthless appraiser, and it has led to a life of constant misery. He can barely make a living for himself and is constantly mistreated by those around him. So now that he's on the edge of death's door, he decides to take the plunge and get it over with. A few hours earlier, Ein was in a party with the mage Jolene and the swordsman Zoe. He is currently up against your average New York City rat, and he manages to slash it, but it's not enough to take the rat down, so he yells for Jolene to hurry up with her spell. Once she's finally done, she fires it at the rat, killing it in a single blow. Now that they are done with their battle, Zoid and Jolene begin praising each other for a job well done. However, they are nowhere near as nice when speaking to the appraiser they brought along with them. Zoid yells for Ein to hurry up and do his job already, but all the heavy baggage she's carrying combined with the weight of their insults makes it difficult to move, so Ein ends up falling face first to the ground. He's clearly being mistreated, but even so he has no choice but to get up and obediently do his job as a low common appraiser. At birth, all the people in this world are granted jobs by the goddess of light and skills by the goddess of darkness. By honing these skills, one can gain a multitude of abilities and powers. However, jobs are passed down genetically, so they can never be changed. These jobs are divided into tiers: rare, high common, and low common. And as you can see, low common is bronze tier trash. So most people with this class are stuck as peasants or merchants. Ein's parents used to own a small appraisal shop to support the family, but they both tragically died when Ein was young, so he was left to fend for himself. That's how he ended up becoming an unglorified pack mule for these two, and even though he hates working for them, he's got no choice. He uses his appraisal skill on the rat they killed and finds out that it's an F-ranked rat, so it's pretty much worthless. Although its tooth is D-rank, so it's valuable enough for Ein to pick up. He tries to pry the rat's mouth open so he can remove the tooth, but that jaw isn't budging, so this is going to take a while. Zoid and Julene are starting to get impatient since Ein is taking so long, so Ein asks them for a little help so he can get the rat's mouth open quickly. However, Zoid is offended that Ein would even dare to ask for help, so he throws a rock at him and tells Ein that he's worthless. Ein glares at Zoid with rage in his eyes for what he just did, but unfortunately, Ein doesn't have the strength to back that rage, so Zoid just kicks him across the floor and Ein is forced to apologize and beg for mercy. Zoid doesn't feel like beating Ein up anymore, so he gets back to work trying to pry the rat's jaws open, while Jolene and Zoid mock him for being a filthy trash collector. They really enjoyed making fun of him, and they know he can't do anything about it since there aren't any jobs for an appraiser like him. If someone wanted to figure out the value of an item, they could easily go to the guild and have it appraised with a magic item, so low-level appraisers like Ein are totally obsolete. Ein heard everything those two just said about him, and he knows they are right. His appraisal skill is practically worthless, so the only job he can get is scavenging parts for jerks like Jolene and Zoid. As soon as Ein has stored the tooth in his bag, Zoid reminds Ein that the only reason they even agree to have him in their party is because Zoid hates touching gross stuff like that, so he had better learn his place and behave like a good trash boy. Life dealt Ein a bad hand, but he's got to do whatever it takes to survive in this world, even if it means he must suffer at the hands of those two. As they are walking through the dungeon, Zoid happens to spot a hellhound corpse lying in the middle of the path, and he doesn't even question it. He thinks this is incredibly lucky since they can loot it without him having to fight, so he orders Ain to start looting. However, Ein has a functioning brain and raises the good point that if the hellhound was already dead before they got here, then something strong must have killed it. And on top of that, hellhounds aren't even supposed to spawn in this area of the dungeon, so he is sure something is seriously wrong here. However, Zoid doesn't want to hear any logical arguments from a loser like Ain, so he tells him to shut up and get to work already. While Ein does the dirty work, Jolene and Zoe begin talking about getting freaky with each other once they get back to town and maybe forcing Ain to watch. But then they notice a second hellhound corpse in the...
Hey, hon, I'm on my way home.
Hold still, Daddy.
Did you two finish the list of chores I left you?
Of course. We got it all under control.
Even scooping the cat's litter box?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Well, I'll see you soon.
Last one. music gets to you know what.
Get ready to scoop poop, old man.
Corridor. So they tell Ein to go get that one too. However, this time, Ein is frozen in fear because according to the guild map he got, there should be a corridor here, so he has a bad feeling that something is going to go wrong if they keep going. Yet once again, Zoid completely ignores Ein's logical arguments and starts walking into the corridor. He tells Ein that if he's so scared to continue, then he can leave on his own. He won't be getting paid anymore since he is disobeying an order from the leader. Ein is pretty much worried here because on one hand, he knows something dangerous might be down in that corridor, so he really doesn't want to go. He also can't prepare for Zoid's party. There are practically no skill. So if Zoid kicks Ein out because of this, he will have no way of surviving. So Ein eventually decides again to kill Zoid. They just hit the jackpot since they can loot all these bodies and make a massive profit without having to fight anything. But Ein is still uneasy since whoever killed all these hellhounds might still be around. Zoid is getting sick. Ein's constantly worried. So he yells at him to shut up and do his job. But then Ein sees something absolutely terrifying behind Zoid, so he nervously points in his direction. Zoid turns around to see dozens of little red eyes staring at him, and a few moments later, a pack of hellhounds emerges from the darkness. All those hellhound bodies they found earlier must have been the result of infighting among the pack. But now that they've been confronted by the full pack, none of them know what to do. Ein has no combat skills, and even if Zoid and Jolie work together, they would barely be able to take down one hellhound or the entire pack, so fighting isn't an option here. The only way they can make it out of this alive is if they make a run for it, but even if they do try to run away, there's no way they can escape the pack before it's chasing them down. Just then, Zoid realizes that Jolie don't necessarily have to go faster than him, just have to go faster than Ein because the hounds eat him first. So he tells Jolene to cast a paralysis spell on him. Jolene is confused at first, but she soon figures out what Zoid is trying to do. So she points her staff at Ein paralysis. Ein falls to the floor. Zoid assures him that the paralysis only lasts for a short time. So if Ein stays quiet, he might get lucky and escape the
Okay,
hellhounds as
guys,
well.
I'm gonna buy some.
However,
I'm all
Zoid
get
then
up.
proceeds
This
to
is
make a
gonna be
lot of
a
noise to
stream.
attract
Peace.
the